Welcome back to Callahan's Corner. We asked a question it's live right here on Facebook. Got a pre-submitted question here from the Service Autopilot members group. We made a video last week talking about piece rate or P for P, pay per performance, and how to actually track that inside Service Autopilot if you're not using a software like P for P. So what we're looking at here is this question here. So I'm going to pull this up real quick. Jeremy said, for those that pay on production, what reports do you use to calculate payroll on the services they perform on that account if it's monthly billings? The first video we made last week was just literally general services the way they're in. We actually did answer this question, but Jeremy's question goes in a little bit deeper. So in this video, I'm going to go in and show you how to set up your services and contracts in order to allow you to run the reports if you're building yourself for accurate payroll that Jeremy wants. And in addition, he goes, Mike, the video doesn't talk about contract type services where there isn't an invoice on each service. We're doing bundles and pest control that are paid monthly. Each service has a value that should be paid on to the tech, even though the invoice isn't created on the time of service. So that's exactly what we're going to be answering here for Jeremy. So great question, Jeremy. We're going to dive in and show you how to do this here. So what we're going to do, the first thing is we're going to go into Service Autopilot here and create an estimate. So we're probably going to go in and add the lead in. That should be reviewed. But once we have the lead or client in here and we've won the estimate, in Jeremy's case, it's a bundle. So it's a package of 10, 15 different services where they're paying either monthly or annual amount. So once we have that, the first step is in V2, we want to go in and add a contract. Now, most of my videos, as we currently are making this, I will recommend do not go into V3 to make or do anything in V3 at this point. There is two areas that I would recommend if you're looking at potentially using V3. And this is the only place I would possibly recommend it, is going into the V3 installment plans. They're going to be on the left-hand panel there under advanced options. Reason being is it'll allow you to assign the chart of account for financial distribution of revenue. So if you're doing maintenance or design build or snow removal, you can associate the revenue to each chart of account that would go to QuickBooks. In this area here, I'm going to name this our test Facebook contract here for Jeremy. And in his case, it started probably January 1st of the year. And knowing Jeremy in his area, he is probably going all the way out through December. So we start the start and end date. We've got our line items. So this is going to be what the consumer is going to see. So this would be probably our monthly maintenance billing. You can add whatever you want in here. This is what's going to go on the show on the invoice. So when you hit the plus sign, it drops it in. You can move them up and down if you have different lines. In Jeremy's case, he might have pest control, maintenance, mowing, different holiday lights. They may all be bundled in here. You may show those details. So when I was talking about V2 to V3, the only thing I really like about V3 is it allows you to set a default service here. So in this test account, I can only select one default service. Now, all the income from all these multiple services now are going to be associated to this one default service here in this test account for cleaning. Reason I have this up is I want to show you how to actually how the pay per performance or piece rate reports actually would come out if you build them yourself, or how we build them in lawn care. So let's just say Jeremy's got a commercial property and he's doing $1,000 a month. Okay, so we're going to auto-fill that in, and that's $1,000 a month installment. We're going to bill on the first day of the month, and maybe we're going to bill 1 month in advance. The payment type would probably hopefully be credit card on file, so we're running those cards. And we can auto-generate active, and if there's sub-properties, we can include that in there. So that's how we set up the contract to get ready for our pay per performance or piece rate pay. This is something we did in my lawn care company probably about 10 or 11 years ago moving forward. So we were able to add $1,200 to $1,300 per week on a mowing crew of additional revenue without changing an employee or piece of equipment. So we'll talk about that later in the video, potentially, or additional videos. But to answer Jeremy's question, I'm going to go into actions, and I'm adding a contract item. So what we're going to go in is grab the services that add up to that $1,000 a month. And one of the biggest things we see after working with hundreds of businesses each year is they may get a price from their buddy saying, hey, it's $12,000. is what they're paying, and they come in and undercut them a little bit. But they really have never created an estimate that adds up to, say, the $12,000 a month. So we need to make sure that all the services add up to the total contract amount. And in each service, we should have a price, a budgeted time, and a cost for that service. Now, once we include this service here, really all the services, we can go in and set this up. Now, if there's a quantity of visits that are included with overages, or you just want to know you went over, or an hourly amount, we can go in and set that visits to, say, 28 visits. And if it's over, greater than or equal to 28 visits, we can alert someone. And if we want, we could actually charge over. Same idea here with the hourly work. So first we set up the contracts that are going to go into the installment billing. So Jeremy wants to know, how do we pay out for each particular service that's done to the tech, but we're not billing it out on a monthly basis for each service or weekly. So once we have this all together, we hit save, and we're going to drive in to add a job. And we would add in, say, a reoccurring job for Jeremy's pest control or cleaning, whatever that is. Test instance I'm in is a cleaning instance. So I'm going to go in and say, select the contract. And then I'm going to select a schedule. So in this instance, I'm going to say every month on the first Monday, we're going to go in and show the schedule. That looks about right for that service. And we're going to confirm. Or we could use the master schedules, weekly or biweekly. And then we're going to go in and grab our service and assign it to a resource. And then the budgeted time, or the rate of 325, the budgeted hours are there. That is the key that Jeremy is probably missing, and a lot of other people that we do deep dives and SA setups with. The fear is you do not put a price and budgeted time there because you think it's going to double bill. But in order for the reports to run correctly, we need a price and budgeted time, whether you pay on the percentage of dollar or you pay on the budgeted time. I'm going to recommend that we pay on pay per performance piece rate on the budgeted time. And I'll get into that in a second when I show you the report. But really quickly, we want to go in and set up that contract here with the services included. And once we have those services, we go in and connect the contract here. And we set the service, the schedule, and the rate and the budgeted hours. If the rate and budgeted hours are in, then we can run a pay performance or piece rate report based on the particular tech and the service, and it will not double bill. But that, and the service levels should all add up to the total annualized contract value. A lot of people don't actually do the math there, which is obviously surprising. But good data in, good data out, or in this case, a lot of people, no data in, no data out. So I need a price and budgeted time for that to work. Now, the final step, once we've saved that, is we go out and do the work. When we're on the dispatch board, we're going to go into to dispatch the jobs. Once we're done, we're going into the closeout day screen. Closeout day screen, most important screen in the whole entire system. So if you've been at one of the live SimpleGrowth training events in the last month or two, we talk about this and spend a lot of time. But under the columns, we want to add in variance and actual time. And someone in your office should now be checking that closeout day screen on a daily basis to make sure you have a good clock in and clock out time, a budgeted time, and a price. Yes, even if you have a contract, like Jeremy's question, we set the contract here. And then with the services that are included here, we go in and schedule the job under the contract and then put the price and budgeted time. So now we've got all the information for this report to run correctly. So we're going to go into the report center, and this one is paying on the level of dollars. So we're giving the technician a percentage of the dollars here. This is actually built out for Debbie Sardone's CBF Cleaning Business Fundamentals. We built out a few years ago for CBF members. This is something we've been doing in my business, like I said, 8-9 years plus. So we had built this out originally for my company and made a version for the cleaning company. But I wanted to kind of give you an idea of what this looks like. This is almost identical to the ones we build for non-CBF members. But we've got some things checking here. We got a good start and stop time. The date is okay. We got budgeted hours. The date is okay. And the job amount. So remember, clock in and clock out, budgeted time, dollar amount. We can associate those to the contract and not double bill the client. And then based on the level of pay of 18, 20, 21, or 24 bucks, we multiply that times the budgeted time. And based on their payout level, we would have all the jobs for the week. But for the simplicity, we'd have a sum of what we're paying them out per week per level. So that is going to be paid on the level of dollars. And then this one is going in as a percentage of the actual budget or the actual dollar amount here. And you can see on the top line here, our test contractor got 100% of the billable hours because they were the only one on the job. So, Jeremy, this is probably the other thing that you're going to have a question on. What if I do a spring cleanup or fall cleanup or a job that two crews show up separately on this at different times or leave? That's a big deal in spring and fall cleanup, especially when you have a different truck doing the debris removal. So what we've done is tackle that. So Carla and I are on this fictitious cleaning job. She gets there at 11:30. I get there at noon. She's a half hour earlier than I am. She leaves at 12:21. I leave at 12:34. What we've done to make the math easy is she's actually grabbed 60% of the job and I've grabbed 40%. Now, obviously, it's not going to work out that perfect in the real world, but we did this for testing to be able to show you an example. So the idea is that now two different crews can show up at separate times and they capture the percentage of the budgeted time that they actually work or the percentage of the revenue charge. Once again, now she's depending on her level, she can get paid the different levels 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 8 that we build out for the lawn care industry. And I can get paid my level. So once again, you can have employees grabbing a different percentage of the invoice, or the one I would recommend is going in and multiplying the hourly rate of the actual technician or crew leader times the budgeted hours, and then you can run this. So great example, great question, but this is how it plays out in the real world. One of the cleaning companies that we worked with had about 32 to 35 cleaners. Same thing in lawn care, but their office would spend 2.5 to 3 days literally calculating this piece rate or pay per performance pay. After utilizing this report in this structure, they were getting payroll done in about a half hour to 40 minutes, fully processed. So massive time savings, but the key is good data in, good data out, or just data in, data out. So I want to make you set the contract with all the services. 2, when we schedule the jobs, we associate it to the contract. And each service that we go in to dispatch should have a budgeted time and a price. And if you're using the system that we show in these videos with the SimpleGrowth workflow of taking the 20 to 18 screens in Service Autopilot, consolidating them down into 6 to 8 screens of success, all these things are here automatically. And you can delegate that to your secretary or admin or your virtual assistant halfway around the world. So we'll talk about the 6 to 8 screens of success, but a lot of people were at the Rochester, New York event about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, where we trained about 20 contractors how to actually do this and onboard an admin between 5 and 7 days, fully set up. And most people were in disbelief until Chad and I actually stood in front of the room and literally labeled the 6 screens that you're going to use on a regular basis. So if you're hitting those 6 screens, this data for this report is 100% ready and accurate for your payroll following the system. So Callahan's questions, or Callahan's Corner, you ask the questions, again, some live right here on Facebook. We'll see you again tomorrow with another pre-submitted question or Facebook question.